So this is the main reason why the progressives and the liberals hate Donald Trump, especially the mainstream media. Welcome to your daily dose of intelligent reporting. This is Lion Sport, and my name is Mark the Lion, and I'm your host for this program. You have to understand that there is a mindset and a mentality that powers the world and the functionality of the lives that operate in it. For example, a nation like United States of America is highly divided politically by those who are classified as the liberals and those who are called the conservatives. So there are two groups that make up primarily the way the American political system works. One side is normally called the left, which is the liberals, and then on the other side, which is towards the right, is normally classified as the conservatives. So there are those who would like to hold on to the established norms and the foundational things that have been established from the onset of the birth of the nation, and want those things to continue as they've always been, at least on a fundamental level. Then there are those who would like to redefine it, who would like to create a departure from the constitutional norms that the conservatives really love and hold on to, and would like to redefine it into their own image or into the ideologues of that which they believe will be a fairer system of government, of course, which always seems to strengthen those who are always at the top, and of course use those who are the lower bottom to advance the agenda. So there's what we call the progressive agenda, and that agenda is always one person will come into a place of leadership, and then you drive the movement to a certain level, and when your time is up, you pass the baton to the next person or the next generation to continue with those progressive ideals. And for one reason, they never just ever arrive, but they are constantly working to redefine and bring everything to a next level. And that's why almost naturally they are never content, no matter what that which they have achieved in a certain administration, a certain level of attainment. They would always push for even more. Even at times there are some liberals that win elections, and many at times the criticisms will come from those that are normally classified as the progressives within the party, saying that the agenda is not really being pushed, or that they are just slow walking what they have campaigned on, or their belief systems are not really being pasted out there as it should. So that has always been how it is. Now, when they win election, they always hope that some of the persons who win that election, or especially the primary level of winning that election, is someone who is highly liberal, so that that person can really accelerate the agenda and move things faster at the pace they would really want it to. And when they are not able to attain that level of advancement, the next thing they would like to do is, when they get into a place of power, to be able to accelerate things and bring it to that accelerated redefinition that will make things fall in line with their desires. And that's how it has always worked. Now, when they get to now a central or a federal election, then they try and center up a little to win those that are normally classified as the independents, and those are the ones who can go either left or right during elections. And once they get into power, then the next thing, of course, is to go back to their roots, to their foundational ideologues, and drive the agenda that they originally came there to accomplish and do. And that's how it works. But anytime they lose an election, maybe because they went too left of that their desires are, and then they end up losing an election, once there is a replacement from the opposite party, many a times they pull hard at the strings of that individual, trying to put pressure. And their pressure is simple. They know that the person is conservative or of the opposite party, so the person will not run with the agenda, will not make laws or propose laws or project laws that would advance the agenda. But the pressure they put on that person is to at least minimize the changes that were made to the status quo, so that whenever they come back into power, they can pick up from where they stopped. So if they stopped at, for example, level 14 in building up to where they are going to, and then they lose the election to someone who is of a conservative party, they will expect and anticipate that when that person comes, that person at worst may just cause them to lose a single level, whereby they drop down to level 13, and then they hold on to their horses and try as much as possible to use groups and NGOs and all kinds of instruments to put pressure so that those individuals will not dismantle that which is in place, so that when all that is said and done, they can simply pick up. And that's why they push to re-win the house for the party so that they can pick up the agenda from where they stopped. But that is their normal way of behaving. So, and that has always been. So every time there was a George Walker Bush who won an election, they expected that he will be able to just, manage the situation to a certain level until they get back to power. So when someone like George Bush Jr. came and became president, they believed to a certain level he has some liberal streak in him, and he will be able to center up nicely and not affect the agenda until they come back to power and pick up when they stop. But this was always their calculation until a man by the name of Donald J. Trump came into the mix. And based on the intelligence of that which I saw upstream, because now we've divided the intelligence upstream as that which is spiritual, and now the physical manifestations of that which is occurring in the physical is now termed as downstream. So I now saw that when Donald J. Trump came into power, and when he won the election in 2016, I saw clearly that when he came into power, that what he did was that he immediately started dismantling the liberal agenda, and within a short time he had dismantled at least a quarter of all progress they have made for the last few years. He dismantled a quarter of that, and that irritated them. Now you have to understand that when this man came into power, his approach wasn't trying to dismantle the liberal agenda, because he's no ideologue. He's just simply someone who came into power and said it was time for us to reestablish the greatness of our nation as it was originally was when I was growing up, and how America was looked up to, and all the greatness and all the potentiality of what she could do. So when he came into power, all he wanted to do was to make America great again. And with that simple approach, he approached it with the simplicity of common sense. He wasn't even deep. He just had a common sense approach. He wasn't a politician. He wasn't trying to fulfill the obligations of lobbyists. He had no desire to cater to anyone's personal interests. He just came in, loved the nation that he represented and the people he fought for. And when he came in, tried to, say that, hey, I'm for the common man. This place is not just for the elite and those who think they are superior than others. This is for everyone. And he represented the rural America and places where have been despised, or what they call flyover country, and he did that quite excellently well. But in approaching and unleashing his timeline of plans, he depended mostly on his simplicity of approach of the common sense mentality, and by so doing he started dismantling the progressive agenda inadvertently. It wasn't an intent that he has calculated into the mix. He just came in to make America great, and by so doing his simple approach was dismantling all the agenda of the liberals. And when that occurred, he irritated them beyond measure, and that's why they pulled out all the stops to make sure that they made him a one-time president. In short, they wanted him to quit before time. So this is the main reason why the progressives and the liberals hate Donald Trump, especially the mainstream media. When he came into power, he immediately started dismantling the fundamentals of their belief system and the things that they have progressed into and inroads they've already made. He changed laws, he changed things, he moved things around. He took some of the laws that were already in the books and started dismantling some of the things that they had always depended on for so many years. And that really irritated them. And that was why they were so much ticked off, and they wanted to make him a one-term president. And the reason they were so motivated to do this was because of the way he was dismantling the agenda. So he's the type of person that when he comes into power, he has a simple, because he's not a politician, he's not responding or catering to anybody's personal interests. He has no care for that. He simply wants to reestablish the greatness of America and cause America to stop sliding downhill, because America has been sliding for a very long time, especially with these progressive ideals. That's why they hate him so much. It's not personal. The hatred for him is not him as for hating Orange Man. Remember, he was one of them. He was as liberal as they come. He had always been that way. even though he was more of a classical liberal. But you have to understand that his mindset was still rooted in that old-fashioned, simple way of doing things, that when you see a door, you walk through it. When you see an opportunity, you take advantage of it. When you see something that is not good, you throw it out. When you see what is good, you bring it in. Simple, basic, common sense approach to leadership, because he was already a good leader in his field, but he was not in governance. And governance is not really leadership by today's democratic standards. Governance these days is all about lobbying, it's all about personal interest, it's not about corporate interests, it's all about enriching your friends and getting people who put you in power to get what they want, and their investments to always, of course, pay out. And this has always been the mentality of quite a number of people who function within those circles, and that was why they hated him so much. And now he wants to come back into the system and continue to dismantle. So he pushed back a quarter. I saw 25% of all their inroads were literally uprooted. That was why the first day they regained power, there were already 40 executive orders that were already being rolled out, and all that was just designed to what? To try and re-establish all the things that the man had dismantled. So now he's trying to come back. He's not only going to roll back that 25%, he's going to add another 25%. So their calculus is that they will lose at least halfway of all inroads they've made in the last 40 or 50 or even 100 years. And that's why they are so terrified of him coming back into power. That is what I saw in the upstream, and that's exactly what will manifest downstream. My name is Mark the Lion, and this has been Lion Spot, your intelligent reporting. Please do like and please do share our page. Let others also be able to connect with it and enjoy the things that we bring even unto everyone. My name is Mark the Lion, and I will see you in the next episode of Lion Spot. And please do subscribe. Thank you, and bye for now.